RBL Weekly, back on the air, here to cover week 20 of the inaugural season. I am the Roast Battle League Commissioner, Pat Barker, joined by a very special co-host, the creator. You are zoned out already.
I'm looking at the... I'm doing the podcasting, Pat.
The creator of the Roast Battle, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who brought this entire sport to us, Brian Moses.
It's my fault. Sorry about that.
What's up, man? How are you?
I was hanging out in San Diego with Freddie Gibbs last night. First name drop of the show.
Love it.
It's good to be here. Sunday at 6 a.m. inside of Studio G, which is just an apartment that a couple brothers that look like the Marx Brothers live in.
It's not 6 a.m. It feels like 6 a.m. in his head. It's way later. Way later.
I want you guys to think it's 6 a.m.
After a Freddie Gibbs night, it probably feels like 6 a.m. the whole next day. Yeah.
Doesn't feel good.
Felt good last night, though, I'll bet.
Man, we were dancing to Tevin Campbell like it was the early 90s or something. All you Gen Zers don't know any of that.
They don't know about Tevin Campbell.
Nobody does. Not even Tevin Campbell.
Well, you have a lot to celebrate this week, man. 10 years.
10 years.
Of Roast Battle.
Yeah.
This show you created, and the real abbreviated version, for people who don't know, there were two comics who wanted to beat the shit out of each other, right? And you were like, how about we roast each other? And here, 10 years later, it's this global phenomenon.
Well, so we don't get any hate mail from Kenny Lyon. About... Gosh, 10 years ago?
Yep, 10 years.
Yeah, so Kenny's, 31 now? So, yeah, there was an open mic comics. I was running an open mic at the Comedy Store. And then basically to keep people in the room, I would have this sombrero, and people would pick their names out of a hat kind of a thing. So nobody could really leave because they wanted, people want to do their stage time.
Sure.
And to keep the thing kind of rolling, because open mics are boring, I would have guys I liked do, segments, whatever all that means. What happened was Josh came in screaming and drunk and was like, hey, that guy's not old enough to be here and he's an asshole. And then Kenny Lyon said, well, I turn 21 next week. I'm going to come back and beat your ass. And everybody lost their minds. It was like 13 or 15 guys and they were like, yeah, you motherfuckers should slap box. But they just installed these security cameras. And I just got the room back because a year prior I had the open mic with another comic. Things got stupid, and we lost the room. And I was like, you know what? I don't ever want to lose this room again.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, how about this? We'll make it comedy-like, and then you guys just talk shit about each other, and then we'll all yay or nay it like it's Gladiator. And yeah, about a couple weeks later, Kenny came back, 21 years old, and barely beat Josh.
I never knew the result of the actual battle.
Yeah, it was awful. I mean, it was really, because they really didn't like each other, so there wasn't any jokes. It was just like, fuck you, fuck this, because and it was also it felt rap battle-y.
Yeah.
Because it was like they were just head-to-head, not doing any Yo Mama jokes, not doing anything like they'd heard. They were just just talk shit about each other, and all right, and Josh has a lisp, and Kenny's been molested, so there's a lot of trauma on stage.
Sure, yeah. So the first battle was bad.
Yes.
But the thing that always drew me to Roast Battle was the energy in the room. Was the energy there?
The energy was always weirdly there, just because it was. There's a thing just at the Comedy Store. It could be in every comedy club. I'm not too sure, but there is an animosity, right? Yeah. Especially in an open mic, because we're all just trying to get your time and get the fuck out of there.
Right.
So yeah, I think it was just finally, this'll instead of seeing whoever do their 3 minutes of dick jokes.
1,000
yeah,
times.
Who cares what this guy's doing on stage? These guys want to fight.
Right.
And that's all we're looking for is say one thing. And that guy's gonna punch him in the face.
So you have this first one.
Yeah.
And did you know at that moment we got to do this again?
We did it every week. I've been doing this every week for 10 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And it went from one battle a week to, for a while we were doing
just
7-8 battles.
Because people just wanted to do it. It was crazy.
Yeah.
We never thought, or at least I guess I didn't. I never thought that I would be doing that. I was like, all right, cool. This will be a segment. We'll do one roast battle. It'll be the halftime of the open mic. That's what it was for 6 or 7 months.
Yeah.
Until Ross came through, Jeff Ross.
Yeah.
But it was it was halftime of the open mic. We started at 10:30. Halftime was 12:30, and we went till 2 in the morning. This thing was fucked up.
It was crazy, yeah. And I remember I got there at the opposite of that because it was you would do a couple battles, and then you would do 5 comics in the middle.
Yeah, dude, it was
a
bad.
bucket. But it was great for me because it was the only place where you could get open mic time with an actual crowd.
Right. Right.
So I did a couple of
nuts.
those like open mics in the middle of the battles, and I was like, oh fuck, this is great because every open mic in LA is just comedians.
Literally what I was saying. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I don't want this to be a boring open mic, and like my dream came true, but then it was like sold my soul to the devil because it was the roast battle.
Yeah, right. Well, it's taken you to like all these cool places
Everywhere, yeah.
And like we're gonna talk about the league. We have 5 battles to watch as always, but you've gotten to go all around. I mean, it started in LA, and then I guess Montreal was the next big step and everything like that. And now here we are in 4 continents, like all over the place.
No, I think it's 6.
Are we in 6?
I think it's all 6 except Antarctica.
No, we. Okay. So the league is in 4, but there are still
Right.
Comedy Central versions in South Africa.
South Africa was the first one.
And somewhere in South America, right?
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, I think it's Mexico City. It might even be deeper. Who knows? But yeah, the first televised like TV show roast battle was South Africa. It was South Africa. Yeah, roast battle South Africa.
It's crazy.
Then it was us. Then it was the UK. Then it was Germany, maybe? I don't know. There's a bunch of them out there.
Now, do you feel like this is the last question before we get into the battles?
Okay,
And
cool.
I want to know.
Sorry, everybody.
No, this is great.
They're here for the battles. I know they are.
They are. We were talking about the analytics earlier. They skip everything.
Oh,
I
yeah,
have to say.
They don't want to hear any of this.
Exactly.
Sorry, yeah.
No, it's okay. It's all right. Maybe it's an exception for you because you're the creator of the show.
They don't give a fuck.
Well, to anyone who's
Love
still
you guys.
listening,
Coup kicks.
that's my guy right
That's
there.
your guy.
So obviously you create this show.
Yeah.
And then they just start popping up everywhere. Now that has allowed us to have this global league, which is cool.
Correct.
We've incorporated with them. But is there part of you that feels like, man, I created the show and everybody just fucking stole it, kinda?
It's a good question. I think I only dislike it here in Los Angeles just because we're doing it. So, it doesn't really take away our crowd, but it just it can confuse our crowd.
There are a lot of roast battles
Yeah.
in Los Angeles specifically. Yeah.
Correct. In New York too. I guess the 2 biggest cities have the most roast battles. But do I hate it? No. I mean, if anything, it's flattery, right?
Yeah.
The biggest form of flattery is thievery, I guess, whatever. So, if anything, yeah, it's helped us grow the league. It's helped get talent better quicker.
Yep.
But yeah, sometimes I'm just like, oh, you guys are doing this all wrong. But then again, it's like, I was saying this to somebody the other day. I was like, it feels more like this. It's like I didn't invent freebase cocaine.
Sure.
Like battling, snapping, talking trash, bagging on each other. That thing's been around forever.
Right.
If anything, we just kind of we made the recipe easy for everybody.
Created
so
a format that was sort of easy to replicate.
Yeah, because I mean, if you've seen it, you've seen Yo Mama. Like they have a circle of guys, kind of just like doing Yo Mama jokes to each other. Snaps is like a bunch of dudes. I mean, it's like a mixture of the wave and like Your Mama kind of a thing. It's 2 people on one side. There's like a barrier, and then they're kind of doing internet jokes at each other.
Yeah.
But this one was like, all right, this will be the evolution of all of that. It's like we're not doing any Your Mama, any internet. We're not doing any of that stuff. Don't touch each other because that'll get weird and we'll all get kicked out. And then Jeff Ross had the last rule, which was everybody at the end hugs.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that's really it. It's as simple as that. Just get on stage, talk trash about each other. We'll give you like a joke, I guess goal, kind of like the Big 3 has, like get to 50 points and that's a win.
Yeah.
So our thing is like 3 to 5. It used to be 9 jokes sometimes.
Yeah. 3 rounders.
Yeah. So yeah. We created crack cocaine, not so much freebase cocaine.
That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, now it is global. It's all over the world, including Tokyo, which is the spot of our number 5 battle this week. This one is kind of near and dear to my heart because it features a guy that made his debut when we were out there in June to judge battles. This is a guy who learned to speak English less than a year ago, specifically for the purpose of doing stand-up comedy and roast battling.
Nice.
Imagine being Japanese, living in Japan, and being like, well, now I have to learn English to do comedy. It seems really backwards, but he did it. And this was his second battle. It happened recently. His name is Yasushi, and his opponent making her roast battle debut, Ruby Rosales. Mexico versus Japan in our first battle from Tokyo, number 5 this week. Here it is.
Okay, well, Yasushi often makes jokes about his brother, who is a missing person. Yeah, and it's really, really such a tragedy that it wasn't you.
All right. Oh, Ruby is a teacher. Two little kids, she's teaching English on the Mexican culture, like swimming fully clothed, digging tunnels, and practicing cops on the robbers.
Well, to be honest, little Ato is really fast. So Yasushi is really a really kind guy. Yasushi sounds like Yasushi, very, very kind. What he does in his spare time is he volunteers in cat shelters. Yeah, he used to volunteer at dog shelters, but they fired him once they found out he was half Korean and taking the dead meat home.
It's too lame joke. It's your level, okay? Yeah, so Ruby is the first generation Mexican American. Watching her doing comedy is like watching her with a piñata on her 8th birthday. Like blindly swinging without landing before running away in tears. And then eating or snorting candy in the corner.
You know what? It is delicious. You gotta love those pixie sticks. You know what? Yasushi is actually unemployed, and it's caused such a huge gap in the Japanese economy that the government has been importing Mexicans like me. So thank you.
Yeah, no joke brings more jokes. That's no problem. So, yeah, she's comes from a very conservative Catholic family, and she has 200 relatives on the mother's side alone. But Ruby's growth made her mother more open-minded. So now her mother wishes she'd had an abortion.
You gotta make population control somehow in the States. Somehow. All right.
All right, so that was number 5. Mean as fuck. Ruby opened with you have a missing brother and your parents wish it was you. And Yasushi closed with your parents wish they had gotten an abortion instead of having you. Almost, it's so funny because you mentioned the Josh Martin, Kenny Lyon battle, where it was really mean because they were still kind of we didn't know what the format was yet.
Right.
I feel like that's kind of what this was between two brand new battlers.
And this is a brand. Oh, so they've never done it.
So it was Yasush's second time, and it was Ruby's first. Yes.
Okay. It was for a first time for Ruby. I thought she did really well. She understood the format. She had quick jokes, and they were brutal. And with Yasushi, what I could understand, I thought it was good.
Yeah.
So I think for a couple first timers to be in the top 5 already, that's pretty good.
Yeah. It was very mean. It was very. They have some of the key components of roast battle.
Yeah.
They were racism. Let's start there.
Right.
Which I think is an excellent decision.
You have to start with racism.
Always works.
Then you go to misogyny because it's kind of parallel.
Sure.
And then after that, it's whatever brutal thing you can think of.
Yeah. I do think that, and I'm interested to see if you've ever noticed this or taken note of it. You have so much else going on. But for me, the second battle phenomenon, I feel like when people come out, and Yasushi's first battle was so good and so fun, and we had him on the live pod in Tokyo and everything, and I feel like when you come out and you crush your first battle, because this happened to me, the second one is by far the most difficult one, because you're
Interesting.
You're not worried about improving on what you can from the first battle. You're just oh, I got this.
Okay.
And you get this extra confidence that is undeserved maybe at that point, because I know I had that going into my second one. I was like, oh,
stand up, I guess, in a way, right?
Sure.
If you crush your first set, and you're like, oh, I got this now. And you're like, oh, and you get baptized in your second set or something.
Exactly.
Interesting. Or a sophomore slump almost, because you have this confidence that you're going in, this unwarranted confidence, right? Because you haven't, you're not a veteran, but you're like, I've done this before. It's like a quarterback who has a good first game, right?
Yep.
And then they get some game tape on them.
Yep.
That kind of a thing.
And I think also the first one is so scary. You know what I mean? And the fear is a good motivator.
Okay.
Because it inspires you to write harder because you're like, I don't want to bomb. And then when you go up there and you don't bomb, you're like, oh, I don't have to worry about bombing anymore.
Yeah.
And then you do, and you're like, oh, fuck, that was right there the whole time. Yeah.
I mean, that's really funny, actually. Has anybody noticed how perfectly blue Pat's eyes are?
Okay.
It's kind of hard. I see that he wears these blue shirts too, just to kind of accent the eyes. I don't know if you see that YouTube, but
Yeah, this shirt.
Punch in, you guys.
Yeah.
Look at these eyes.
Check it out. All right, well, that was the number 5 battle this week from Tokyo, the current number 2 in the international standings as they fight for a playoff spot. Let's go stateside for the next battle, and this one comes to us from the Bay Area and features a battler who we will be having at the Mothership coming up later in this month. Ashley Monique, the current Bay Area champion, defending her title against Brett Harper. It's the number 4 battle this week. Here it is.
Ashley has an insane body. It's a medical miracle that someone can have such a huge ass and no spine.
Brett is autistic. She has a hard time making direct eye contact with people. At least that's what she tells black people.
Sex with Ashley is like working in tech. She says she's open to all races and genders, but it's always just a mediocre white guy.
Brett looks like a scarecrow. If the only crow she fucks with is Jim.
Ashley used to work in forensics, so she knows how to bury a body. She just sits on it and it disappears. Just like her father.
Brett does not have a dick, but her face is hung like a horse.
Ashley is like a curvy America Ferrera. She would have been cast in Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, but when she put on the pants, they exploded, killing Blake Lively.
I found Brett's LinkedIn, and it said that in high school she was voted president of the Native American Club. She won by a stolen landslide.
Ashley's so hairy. The first time she had sex, the guy tried to fuck her face because he thought her mustache was her bush.
Is that 4?
I feel like that's enough.
I think that was 4.
Okay, so one of the better battles we've ever filmed on a Nokia 5100. When you want to film a battle, play the snake game, and change the faceplate all in one night, you go to the Bay Area.
I mean, if I'm gangland, I'm just using this camera because it just covers out their face the whole time.
It's a constant subplot of the season. Is the Bay Area, for some reason, the center of tech, cannot find a camera anywhere that doesn't look like a buffering like real video.
Yeah.
Remember Real Player from back in the day?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great
pull,
reference.
right?
Wow.
That being said, fun battle.
Yes.
Some great jokes. This was actually my first time seeing Brett. I was impressed. I thought she was hitting pretty consistently throughout the battle. And then Ashley kind of landed the knockout punch at the end with the stolen landslide, which
that was
great.
a big one. Yeah. I thought Brett, like, she was jabbing early, and I was like, oh, this is a tough one for Ashley. But Ashley kind of, she stayed in the pocket, she stood her ground, got the big pop in the middle, right? And Brett couldn't come back after that.
Yeah, Ashley is very, very solid. We've seen her a few times. She's battled some of the LA's best people. She battled Paige Wesley. She battled Ryan Nesson. Not easy battles, and she's always performed, to expectation. So I'm excited to see her, in Austin next month for sure.
Yeah, when she battles at the Mothership and on some better video.
Do you want to talk about the video or just the battle?
Oh, the battle's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, the battle was great. I thought Brett came out real strong with the first 2 jokes, and I was like, okay, we might have a new. Was that for the title?
That was for the title.
Yeah, I was like, we might have a new winner here, but then if you're gonna come at the champ, you best take the crown.
Yeah, and she just wasn't able to kind of get over the hump at the end there. But yeah, her early the thing about her body is a medical marvel, like having an ass that
Perfect.
big with no spine, like.
Oh, such a good joke. I mean, right at the gate, I was like, ooh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just it's a really interesting angle to take, and I thought Brett was great. And one thing I love about the Bay Area is I feel like we've been seeing some new names this year that we hadn't seen before. Just from recent videos, Lexi Axanelli is really good. Amber Ellis, Brett Harper, a bunch of new people coming along to go along with the Logan Farrs and the Josh Means and Morgan Anderson and people that we've seen before. So
Yeah, and what's Brett's record? I mean, like, apparently or evidently, like, she's good enough to where she's already getting a title shot.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised. For the season I had since the beginning of March, she was 1-0. So she wasn't one of the more active battlers, but obviously they saw something in her, and I completely understand why now. So good stuff out of the Bay Area. They continue to run monthly at Cobb's, monthly at the Sacramento Punchline. Just the growth of that scene as a whole has been really impressive.
It's fun. Yeah, the Rooster Teeth Feathers, I think, soon over in Pleasanton. Yeah, that whole area. That's why we call it the Bay Area, because they really do cover a lot of ground out there. Sacramento, San Francisco, Pleasanton.
And they also will have
Cupertino.
like random bar shows too.
Right. That's
As they're blowing up, that's the kind of shit that people usually leave in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
And Josh Means is like, let's book more of them.
No, he's just ready to battle anywhere. He brought his. I remember. He brought his family. He brought his team down to Fresno to battle the Jokes on You guys down in like Bakersfield. So yeah.
And they dominated 5-1.
Did they?
In favor of Roast Battle Bay Area.
Yeah, I mean that's like you're battling Bakersfield.
That was kind. Yeah, I mean it was kind of
In
like
Fresno.
That was Globetrotters.
Yeah.
Generals.
Washington Generals, right? Yeah,
for sure.
Bakersfield.
By the way, my battle with Josh Means on Jam in the Van, did you see what they've been doing, like clickbaity kind of titles on their YouTube?
Who?
Did you see what
yeah,
Jam in the Van?
No, what they say?
If you guys want to see me battle Josh Means at Jam in the Van, just search for Overweight Dad versus Tweaker.
Wow. I mean, talk about nailing it.
Not a lie was stated in that title.
Josh is overweight.
All right. Enough of that. Number 3 battle this week. Let's keep it moving. These are a couple of blossoming favorites out of the New York scene. Multiple times on the podcast this season for each of them.
Awesome.
I'm not sure you've seen them, so I want you to check this out. This is a number 3 battle this week between Sonny Leprod and Grant Moore. Here it is.
Okay, thank you. I will go first so Sonny has time to wind up her teeth. Sonny came out as bi at 18, non-binary at 19, trans at 20, and a lesbian at 21. By the time she is 25, Sonny is going to identify as a pansexual crouton.
Grant's just pressed because even as a woman, I'm more of a man than you'll ever be.
Low bar.
I would just like to say that I will be donating all of the proceeds from tonight's battle to the Trevor Project. Not because Grant's fairy of a father killed himself, but because Grant himself is a proud member of the LGBTQ IBS ED community.
No. It sucks that that's my best joke. is the word no. Sonny looks like instead of tits, she got carrot top surgery.
Oh, sorry. That was Grant's dad. He actually said bang. Grant likes to call himself a soft boy, which coincidentally is what all of his partners call his penis.
Okay.
Sonny, I'm a fan. I loved you in Mrs. Doubtfire origin stories. I just want to say, as an ally, anyone who believes that trans women are not women have obviously not seen Sonny's terrible female comedy.
Grant's dad killed himself. And Grant is already on SSRIs, so who knows? Maybe the apple doesn't fall far from the dead faggot.
Thank you, PP Dong Stockings. Yes. Yes. Sonny's last job was to watch tragic car accidents. That's right. Sonny was paid to look into a mirror.
Grant has shit himself as an adult, quote, more times than he can count. Meaning that Grant has shit himself at least 3 times.
Ah, so this is the new Mrs. Potato Head. Hasbro, more like was, bro.
While we're talking about my community, I just want to bring light to the fact that the suicide rate for trans women is staggering. 41% of trans women have attempted suicide, and the only group that's at higher risk is Grant's parents at 50%.
Yeah, we were just talking off the air about how if you want a roast battle, try to have all your family be alive.
Yeah, because that is a subject that gets, just punched in the face all the time.
It's actually a theme for this week's episode. The number 4 battle had, I can't even remember who did it, Ashley or Brett, but somebody had a dead dad joke.
Right.
And I think it might have even been a dad suicide, and then that one's dad suicide, and spoiler alert, there's more to come. We still have a lot more dead dad material, but that was the number 3 battle this week. Sonny Leprod moving to 4-1 on the season.
Wow.
Picked up the win there.
You can see because Sonny's a very mean lady.
Very mean. Yeah.
She's got like Dan Wicks vibes. Like a style where it's like they say the joke, they kind of laugh, and they kind of like sit back and wait for you to kind of do it. Like, Dan is he's jittery, right?
Oh yeah,
and,
to say the least.
Yeah, he's jittery, and I kind of like I got a vibe. Like, not saying that Sonny is jittery, but she's got this she's just got Dan Wicks energy about her. It could be the teeth.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite jokes ever.
Yeah.
The give her time to wind up her teeth, which was just absolutely an incredible joke. I thought Grant represented himself really well in this battle. I've seen Grant battle a few times, and the dead dad stuff is always at the forefront of his opponent's material. That's an uphill climb when you have something that juicy. And I say this as somebody who heard every miscarriage joke in the world.
Yeah.
Like, going in that you're basically giving your opponent like 2 free punches off top.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, here's this thing that you can't possibly fuck up. I mean, you can, but it's tough.
Yeah, and it's also like, Grant doesn't really have a lot of, I guess, big features. Like, I guess, maybe he doesn't have like a characteristic that people want to maybe he's not an alcoholic, he doesn't beat his wife or have a wife, he's not in the community that Sonny would be in, kind of a thing. So he's just this like boring white guy.
He's just kind of a guy.
Yeah.
Right.
So then let's go beat up on his dad.
And by the same token, I'm not going to say that Grant didn't have a couple free punches himself. You're battling a trans person, obviously.
Yeah.
There's
Was
that.
bro was great. Hasbro was bro.
The Mrs. Potato Head into the was bro was excellent. I really like Sonny's LGBTQ IBS ED. That whole thing was
got
really good.
All the alphabet in there.
And then her closer, which I thought was, if we're going to argue that the dead dad jokes are kind of like low-hanging fruit, I thought that was the most creative way to kind of go about it, talking about the trans suicide rate at 41%, and then the only group higher is his parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did.
Yeah.
We both recoiled in the middle though when she hit the F word.
Oh yeah.
Just because there was no need for it. The joke was already like gonna work.
But you know, I mean, it's like me using the N word, Pat. You can't do it either.
That's fair.
You know, so we're just kind of if you watch me do stand up, you're like, oh, he's really saying that word a lot. You know.
You do.
You know,
Yeah, he says it a lot.
the F word.
Yeah, I
Free base.
Great. This was also the first battle where we saw somebody just kind of like reading from a phone. This is a more general thing. I'm not asking about Grant specifically because we see it a lot on these battles.
Chicago, New York, yeah.
Chicago, New York. It was really interesting when I was in Chicago last week judging. They do a pre-show kind of thing where they specifically say they're like, don't read from your phone. If you have notes, write them on the paper. And then the week I was there, everybody is reading off of like a notebook.
Nice.
And they're like, that's better. And I'm like, is it? I'm not.
Well, because they were getting crushed in the comments.
Yeah, but I don't think the issue is that the vehicle of information. I think it's reading notes in general. Like you can put them on a fucking scroll.
Right.
I don't think it matters.
Something weird about a phone, like compared to like notes, it's like, you know, notes traditionally, you know, you'll see like a guy like a Greg Giraldo or like even like a Burns, you know, George Burns kind of guy, like bring up notes and like kind of like, you know, rattle them off. You know, you don't have a lot of Jeff Rosses and Don Rickles, you know, types.
Yeah.
At those like
you
Friars Club Roasts.
You never saw Don Rickles reading off a phone.
No. He knew what he was gonna say.
Right.
You Chinese people. No, you're not kind of thing.
So let me ask you, as like you see this sport growing and in new scenes where it's brand new. In LA, there were never phones.
No.
There were never notes.
No.
It was a rule. It was an unwritten rule, but like it was one of those things where you knew you would get crushed.
So it's like the early 2010s, you know, like people can really afford the smartphones. We were still on flip phones. You know?
Exactly.
So we had notes. Notes were used a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, when we get into the crux of like when you guys were in there, like that second waiver roast battle after, because we started 2013, 2015 on, it's like you guys go nuts, and you guys were like coming for blood, and you guys were like, especially because Jeff Ross was there, and he always would say, "Don't bring notes on stage. Look at your opponent." So you guys were really good about that.
Yeah. What are your thoughts overall? Is that a trend that you wish other cities would kind of follow and lose the notes, or do you just think it's not that big a deal?
I think it's fun for the judges because then the judges can kind of crack on it, right? And you know, it's more fodder for everybody. You know, like it really is just you're passing a ball around. You know, so if these guys are the only ones writing stuff on stage, right? Like they're coming in with written jokes and everything else is improv. I don't mind it.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. It's distracting to watch. Obviously, like on a computer screen or a TV screen, but like live, I feel like you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel that joke hit.
I do think that it can separate in a close battle, though. Mm-hmm. I think if you have one person who is completely, off book, so to speak, and the other person's like reading the notes, that could be the difference between a win and a loss when it's close.
If the jokes are good, I guess that doesn't matter. If the jokes are bad, we know you're reading off a phone. You're like, get some funnier jokes in there. You know,
reading bad jokes off a phone is brutal. Yeah, absolutely. When I was in Chicago, there was one guy who I don't know how many jokes he wrote, but like between jokes, he was flipping like 9 pages ahead in the notebook.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he was all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think the funny ones are on that page. Like, keep looking. Flip a little bit further ahead. Shout out to Chicago. I had a great time. Everybody was great. Even that guy. I just said that to get a laugh. All right, let's go into the top 2 battles of the week. And these are 2 battles that you were in the room for both of them. We're going to start with the Mothership from Austin. They ran an event a couple weeks back. That was we've been bringing in people from all over the world for these Austin Mothership battles. This one kind of came about last minute. It ended up being all Austin. It was a hell of a show. And this was my personal favorite battle of the bunch. And this features a guy who, this is a kind of a weird stat, but Colin O'Meara from Austin has now put more points on the board for his city than any other battler in the league this season.
Whoa.
This is his 3rd battle, all of which have been top 2. And he's going against a former Austin champion in Heather Keith. Let's check it out.
Heather's an emo Mexican, which means she tried to cut her wrist, but she couldn't get the weed whacker to start.
Colin looks like he uses hair gel as lube. And then he uses his cum as hair gel.
Yeah. That's why it smells so good. I feel like if Heather's pussy could talk, it would only sing sad songs like Wonderwall. You know? Like, today is gonna be the day that I'm gonna stink up the room.
Colin Colin looks like the dude from every early 2000s movie that secretly loves to fuck fat girls.
Yeah, you wish, dude. God damn. Heather looks like she has a sugar daddy who actually just gives her sugar.
Colin is an unlicensed barber, and his dad shot himself, so he's pretty used to people in his life wanting a little bit off the top.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, my dad killed himself. You look like you killed Selena, but yeah. Yeah, Heather actually broke up with her boyfriend because he wouldn't come with her to get an abortion. But in his defense, is he supposed to go with her to the bathroom every time she takes a shit? Like,
It's crazy. Your dad aborted his brains.
yeah.
Colin looks like he often quotes Ben Affleck and then goes, "That's a Ben Affleck quote. That guy's a fucking legend."
Yeah, he is. What are you talking? Yeah, the guy's fucking rules. Heather looks like she breastfeeds herself.
Colin looks like he often calls the cops and goes, "First of all, you're not better than me. Second of all, you're going to want to call an ambulance. I just beat the shit out of my girlfriend."
Yeah. In my defense, she was talking shit about Ben Affleck, so...
All right, number 2 this week, excellent battle. So many classic roast battle moments, and in fitting fashion ends with you forgetting how many jokes there are and coming on stage late.
Classic.
A Moses staple. I loved this battle. I thought that they both came out absolutely firing. There were some great ones, and after the last battle, where like the majority of the jokes were about the dead dad.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought Heather did it perfectly. Like just hit it once,
Sprinkled.
make it a great joke. A little bit off the top is a fucking outstanding joke. But O'Meara was just controlling the crowd, man. He was on one that night, huh?
He had everything was rolling off of him, and that's kind of a thing now. Like guys picked up on, like if they say something negative about you, don't sit there in the pocket and wait for and wait for your next joke. Like say something, riff something that's gonna just like make people forget what they just said, basically.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a great defensive tactic, and I think he kind of nailed it that night because Heather came with some fucking heat. I mean, I was there that night, and I don't remember it being that sharp. I mean, like she was great. But I just thought Colin was killing it that night. Because, for the most part, I can't see the battles. That's my first time seeing the battle, face on. Mm-hmm. I'm just normally in the backstage, like, just hearing the pops.
And you're counting jokes ineffectively.
Trying
but that's,
to, yes.
Yeah, that's what you're doing.
Well, because there's rebuttals sometimes. It's like I can't count 20 jokes.
No,
sometimes.
that's fair.
Yeah.
And also, I've noticed this a lot. A lot of times, battles translate differently in the room to on camera. This one, when I watched them, I was just like, God damn, this one was outstanding. Heather is one of the best roast joke writers, I feel like, in the entire league.
Absolutely.
Across the entire world. Consistently. She's always having incredible battles. And the thing that both of them have that I love, to me, if you think about the greatest to ever do it, they all kind of fit into two categories. They're great joke writers and they're big targets.
Right.
And I think both of them...
Keith Carey, Heather Keith, yeah.
Absolutely.
All the Keiths.
Yeah, exactly. Joe Urell, Paige Wesley, all these kind of people have like angles that you could take on them.
Robin Tran, yeah. Pat Barker, yeah.
Yep, and they are excellent joke writers as well. And these guys both fit into that kind of category. And you could see it with all the points O'Meara has put up. I mean, Austin now has 27 points on the season, 13 of them from Colin O'Meara battles.
Wow, yeah.
Which is crazy.
The human highlight film, Colin O'Meara.
Yeah, I mean, speak to that a little bit. How important do you think it is for a battler to be a good target in addition to being a great battler offensively?
It makes for a great battle. Like we were talking about Grant, like he may not have a big characteristic, so the biggest characteristic you can probably go for is his dead father, right? So a guy like Colin, same thing, right? Unless like Colin's got a bunch of, crazy things on his record. I mean, like you're probably going to go for something that's going to hurt him, which is like, dead father, you think, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's Zach Amico. I mean, like I'm just keep thinking of like guys who are big targets. Alex Hooper sometimes when he was dressing up, things, So, yeah, it plays better for the crowd if there's a bigger target. If you're a big target, you have a lot to talk about. If you're a big person, if you're a gay person, if you're a black person, if you're
Sure.
some kind of ethnic person, hey woman, those things, all those things play well when we're talking about roast battle.
And O'Meara also has, in addition to the dead dad, he kind of has like this vibe. He's like totally Irish, but he just looks absolutely Jersey Shore, Guido kind of thing. And that's why Heather can get away with jokes like calling the cops and being like, first of all, you're not better than me.
Yeah.
Which is a perfect just capturing somebody's essence.
Man, yes.
I
Those are
love
always fun.
They're so hard to write. At least for me. I can never write those kind of. So I'm blown away like when people are able to do it.
First of all, you're not better than me. Second of all, you might want to call the cops.
I just beat the shit.
Because I just beat the shit out of my girl. I mean, like, man, Heather.
Yeah.
I mean, God.
Outstanding.
You're so good at this, Heather.
Also, shout out to Colin to sing on your first or second joke. I forget which one it was.
Bold.
That's a hell of a decision. Because if that song flops, you are fucking cooked.
Yeah.
And I would say musical numbers tend to not work way more than they work in roast battle.
Yeah, but it had all the things. You know, it was on rhythm, and there was misogyny, so it was fun.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
everybody who loves roast battle, because that's what you get here.
Yeah, if you love musical numbers about stinky pussies, Colin O'Meara is your guy. Outstanding battle out of Austin. We'll be back there August 20th.
August 20th,
And again on September 3rd.
Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, if you're in Austin, definitely come check it out. Every show we've done there has been so fucking fun.
It's like Comedy Disneyland. You got to come. It's the amusement park right now. Come on down to Rogan's place.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're going to be there also next week at the Vulcan?
I guess.
All right, cool. Nice. All right, well, let's get to the number one battle this week. And I don't like that I have to do this. I'm going to be very clear here. I hate that this is a thing. But
Is it your battle?
yes. Jeff Ross, specifically in the judging, requested
He did.
that and we're not going to watch the judging, you're just going to have to take my word for it, or you can watch the entire battle on YouTube right now. This was a battle that happened at the 10-year anniversary show this past week in the Belly Room. Kind of a last-minute kind of thing came together, and it was a lot of fun, and I am absolutely dreading watching it. It's number one this week. It's me, Pat Barker, versus Paige Wesley. Here it is.
Are we 10 years old?
Favorite rapper is Ludacris, and she listens to him every day. Usually when she's taking up the entire sidewalk and everyone's yelling, "Move, bitch, get out the way!"
Pat, motherfucker, you don't know me like that! Wow. Pat looks like he only listens to hip-hop to get invited to the cookout. I may be fat, but Pat looks like White Grimace.
How dare you disrespect me this close to my birthday? It was Grimace's birthday. If you guys ate McDonald's,
Only you would know.
Yeah, no. Don't act like you didn't know that shit.
I knew.
Paige had an IV and that purple shake hooked right up to her.
Purple's my color. What can I say?
Speaking of fast food, Paige was in a sorority in college. Their Greek name was Pizza Pizza.
Pat looks like he plays slow pitch softball and fast pitch meatball.
Thank you, Lizzo and Whiteface. Paige, fuck, hang on, I'm sorry. Thank you.
I have this effect on people.
Yeah. Thank you. Paige is, fuck, I'm sorry. I know this is unprofessional. I have to check my notes. This was last year.
It's your birthday, man. Oh, man.
Oh, fuck, these aren't my jokes. This is Paige's Wendy's receipt.
Those are fighting words from the man who looks like he gets hard ordering at Arby's. Pat and his wife conceived via in vitro because it makes sense to use a turkey baster when your husband comes gravy.
Paige is so unhealthy, she had her midlife crisis at 12 years old. I don't know how Paige is going to die, but I
I know there will be an Oompa Loompa there to sing a song about.
And you'll be there on the chocolate lazy river, fucker. Pat's never smoked weed because it's too close to a salad.
No, I got
You said 3 jokes. We've been up here for like 6 jokes. Keep going. Keep going. Yes. We never know portion control.
Paige is from the Bay Area, where they had a horrible earthquake a while back. Now, I'm not going to make fun of that. It was a terrible tragedy, and it has nothing to do with Paige. Or does it? You see, Paige, I did a little research. You were born in November of 1987.
Last time I checked, yeah.
Roughly 18 months before that earthquake hit.
What are you trying to say?
It seemed fishy to me. So I went and did a little research and I Googled, at what age does a baby start walking? The answer? 18 months. What a coincidence. Look, Paige! Believe it or not, against all odds, she can walk. She started in 1989 at the exact same time that a 6.9 quake was devastating her hometown. But could it be possible? Did Paige's first steps cause that disaster? 67 people died that day. Is there blood on her fat little baby feet? No one knows for sure, except for her. Look, all I'm saying is if you think she killed on stage tonight, just wait till she walks back to her car.
Destroyer of world! I think that's our last joke.
What makes this better is they decided to do this 15 minutes ago. Not a joke. That's literally 15 minutes ago. These two wrote fucking 6 new jokes about each other. So make a loud for how bad.
It was fun.
Just so the people know. All right. I was supposed to be 3 jokes, I thought. And then Pat, behind Paige's thick back.
Yep. I threw up the 5 after my first joke.
He threw up the 5.
That one's on me. That one's on me. There was a lot of, I thought it was 5. She thought it was 3. I thought we were both on the same page, that we knew it was 5. Yeah, so my bad.
But portion control, I mean.
Oh my God, dude.
Just to have that, off the cuff, off the
She's
rip.
incredible. Paige is, since the pandemic, post-pandemic, she has been far and away the best battler on earth, in my opinion.
Yeah.
She never has a bad battle. Every battle she has is incredible. She went to Tokyo and had a battle like I've never seen anything
Destroyed
quite like
the city.
it. Yeah.
Had 3 movies about it.
Yep. There it is.
I gotta throw up.
I will, we'll just keep rolling. I'm gonna, so to clarify something, because if you watch the full YouTube video, Brian Moses gives us a little bit too much credit. He says that this battle came about in about an hour, which is true. We agreed. There were a couple of dropouts that night. It was the 10th anniversary. I did not want the night to go short. So Paige and I basically, that was a rematch. We had battled a couple years prior. The footage was never found. So we said, let's just kind of run it back. So I wanted to do it for that reason. The impressive thing about Paige, though, is I think only one of those jokes she did in the original battle. She pulled her B-sides and just did those, and they were just as good as the ones I heard the first time. I mean, the turkey baster joke in particular is one of my favorite jokes that I've ever heard about me. So I think important that we clarify that this was not written in an hour. I cannot accept that praise, and I think it's important also that I give Paige her flowers as, in my opinion, the most entertaining battler on planet Earth right now. Like, she's absolutely incredible. And while we're clearing things up, one other thing, there were people who were coming up to me afterwards who really thought that I forgot my third joke. I thought it was pretty clear that it was planned all along and I was faking, but in case anyone wasn't clear, that bit was planned. To believe otherwise would imply that I write my jokes on a 6-foot-long strip of receipt paper for no reason, which would be insane. But there were people afterwards who were like, oh, it's a good thing you just had that receipt paper on you, and they thought I thought of it in the moment, which is an absolutely asinine thing to think. It was planned entirely. Because it was last minute, I had to ask one of the Comedy Store door guys to run and grab 6 feet of receipt paper, which was a weird request. But yeah, so to clear that up, Brian Moses is dead. I regret to inform the viewers. This is maybe my favorite moment in the entire history of the show. Never had a co-host just like he could. I mean, we weren't on cam. 30 seconds earlier, he could have been like, hey, I'm going to go use the bathroom. But he waited until we started recording. So now we're just kind of killing time. 10 years of roast battle. How crazy is that? You know, we've had a lot of fun. We've made a lot of friends. We've said a lot of mean things. A lot of classic moments on that stage. But I think the real roast battle, Cody, was the friends we made along the way.
I think it is. I think the camaraderie, the community that has sprung up after 10 years of this is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
To have you two guys go on last minute to just pull people like that is unbelievable. And then literally deliver like that nonstop.
Thank you.
I mean, that was phenomenal. Really,
Thank you.
really
Thank you very much. It was great fun. I'm depressed that Brian Moses will no longer be the host of Roast Battle after whatever is going on in the other room. I will assume the throne as the commissioner. I will be the new host of Roast Battle, I suppose. I am the new Brian Moses. Cody, thanks for joining me today. Been a hell of an episode.
You know.
We'll see you guys next week on RBL Weekly. Almost forgot. Let's tack this on to the end of the episode. Want to update everybody on the standings real quick. Internationally, not much movement on this episode. Tokyo picks up a point with the number 5 battle. They extend their lead over Scotland. That one's going to be really interesting because Scotland is about to start running shows at the Edinburgh Festival, and they have a big tournament coming up with battlers from Scotland, from London, from Barcelona, from New York, from LA. So I expect a lot of quality content coming out of Scotland, a real push. Can Tokyo stave them off? We will find out as they fight for that second playoff spot. Over in the States, New York maintains their secondary position. LA has opened up a pretty comfortable lead right now for the first playoff spot. New York is firmly entrenched in the second spot, but Austin jumps up from 5th to 3rd based on the strength of their performance this week. Chicago, which a couple weeks ago was holding that second playoff spot, has now dropped to 4th and is in danger of falling further. They're only 2.5 points out of the cellar at this point. And then behind them, the Bay Area moves up a notch. Denver moves down a notch. But everybody is still super close from 6th to 2nd. It's only a 5.5 point difference, which can be made up basically in a week. So another couple months left in the season. It's going to be really interesting to see who will be battling it out for the title of World Roast Champions. For Brian Moses, for Cody Gidley, I'm Pat Barker. Thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll see you next week.